Today at the Dietary Restriction Kitchen, we're going to try to cook something that I personally have never really liked, and that's parsnips. But I found this great recipe for honey roasted parsnips, so I thought we'd give it a try. I think I need to give them another try, so let's go inside and make them right now and see how we like them. Okay, so let's briefly go over our ingredients. Of course, we are going to need, for these honey roasted parsnips, we're going to need parsnips. The full recipe can be found on the Dietary Restriction Kitchen website. The link will be in the description. But the recipe calls for 2 pounds of parsnips. I've only got 1 pound here, but it'll be okay for this trial. So some parsnips, we're going to need some olive oil. So we need some olive oil, some honey, liquid honey is good. And we're going to need some salt and pepper, so just some salt and pepper, and we're going to need a bit of garlic powder, just a little bit, and some fresh chopped parsley, which I've got, or you could use chives as well. So very simple ingredients. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I've gone ahead and peeled out, chopped the ends off and peeled out 3 of those parsnips. I'm just going to show you on the last one. I mean, you know how to do this. So chop the ends off, just using this bowl to put the detritus in here, so that we can put this in the garbage after. You could redo right over the garbage can if you wanted, or your food waste container if you're living in a place that has the recycled for food kitchen waste. Oh my gosh, I'm flicking it everywhere. Okay, pick that up after. Off the floor if it's gone on the floor. So then we're going to, just like you would do with carrots, right? Like just what you do with carrots. And now I'm just going to take those to the sink, wash them up, give them a little dry, and then we will chop them the way we need to chop them. Okay, so they've been washed, they've been dry, because we don't want them like really wet, because we're not cooking them in water, right? So I'm just going to set those ones aside. So a lot of the time you could have a big fat one and that could get a little bit woody on the inside. But the first thing we're going to do, I got 2 knives. I've got this one, which is my handy dandy, and a really big one. Probably I'm going to need to do this. I'm going to chop them about half because I want the pieces to be fairly long. So yeah, so we'll start with half, and you can see that one's probably going to be woody. So I'm going to go lengthwise. Yeah, it probably is. We're going to go, okay, 1 second, we're going to do this, right? And probably going to have to chop that middle portion out of there because it's probably pretty woody. Let me get this in here, see if we can get this out. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, what I'm going to do, because we want the pieces to be about like that sort of width. So we're going to chop all 4 of these this way. Okay, and let's see, now then, see we got sort of that woodiness inside in the center. So I'm going to just take that knife and just run it down and we're going to get rid of that bit, right? So yeah, and I'm going to put it in a bowl or a shallow dish, or you could mix it up with the seasonings right on the pan that you're going to cook it in, which is not this, but whoop, here, so yeah. Get rid of this woody interior part, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Come on. Let's stop with that. There we go. So that one, do we want them skinnier? That one maybe, right? So I'm just going to chop that one. We may want them a little bit skinnier like that. Here, I'm going to get this one skinnier too. So we've got like a little bit of matchsticks. Okay, so I'm going to do the whole pan of them, including this, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got them all chopped up, matchsticked, so relatively the same size is okay. You could make them thicker if you wanted. If they're thicker, they're going to take longer to cook. If they're thinner, they're not going to take as long, obviously. So we're going to have a big pan ready, okay? So a big parchment paper lined pan, or you could grease the pan really well, quite well. And so now we're going to take our olive oil and we're going to put that in with our parsnip pieces. I was going to say wedges, but they're not wedges, okay? So a couple tablespoons of the olive oil. Okay, we're going to do that. Okay, and then we're going to get a couple tablespoons. Now this, mind you, remember, this is for 2 pounds, so I'm actually being very generous with this for the 1 pound, because this is only 1 pound of it. But I think you could, like, I like generous portions of sauce and things, right? So I'm thinking, yeah, that's not going to be too bad. We are going to just give that a toss in a minute. I'm going to get a couple of things to toss that with. And just 1 sec, we'll do that. Get something to toss them with. Probably, I mean, you could go with your hands, but with that honey in there, okay, I want to coat them kind of well. And you can see, woo, that's coated. You could do this in a bowl too, but I thought a shallow dish. So we'll get that kind of, these guys coated. Make sure we got them all coated in there. Okay, so yeah. And then we're going to add our seasonings as well to that. Okay, so I've got my salt, sea salt, some pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder. Again, the full recipe will be on the Dietary Restriction Kitchen website. The link will be in the description for this video. Okay, and so we're going to get that all, and here's what's going to get messy, because I'm going to use my hands to put them on the pan, probably. Okay, this, and you're going, well, usually you just get in there with your hands. If you've been watching my videos, you know I'm like in there with my hands. Now, I have a confession to make. I don't like parsnips. I know, here I am cooking parsnips. Well, this is the thing, I haven't eaten a parsnip in years, because I didn't like how my mom did them. I didn't like them. I just thought I didn't like the vegetables. So I thought, well, look, I'd like to see if I like them or not. So this is a experiment to see if I'm actually going to dig parsnips or not. And I thought this recipe was kind of interesting, so I thought I'd give it a try. So we're going to try it. First time I have not even eaten this kind of parsnips yet. So let's go. Okay, so they look pretty well coated. I can actually just, if you want, take one of the spoons or whatever, we're going to dump that right on the pan. Okay, but then get some of that goodness in there. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure they get spread out. What we don't want them piled up together. We don't want them to be, here, we don't want them to be crossing each other. Like, we don't want them to be piled up. We want a decent amount of room in between each one, so we can get, here, we can be more orderly about this if we want. So that we want them to be, like, we want room in between them, You see what I mean? So that's why a big pan. If you were doing a whole bunch, you might have to take 2 pans, right? 2 baking sheets. So we're going to try to separate these out. And then make sure we got a decent amount of room in between, because we don't want them really super touching each other. We want a little space in between each one, because that will help to caramelize, apparently, according to the recipe. So we're going to, that makes sense though. It does make sense. So yeah, so there we go. So then we're going to put them in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to check them in about 20. And we'll have a look and see how they're doing. So yeah, so as you see, they're fairly well separated here. Like, don't touch that guy. Okay, so I'm trying to get them so they're not really super touching each other everywhere, right? Like, they're not jammed up against each other. There's room in between each one. You see what I mean? Like, yeah, so space. Give them some space in between each one, like, kind of thing, so that the air can circulate all the way around each piece, okay? We're going to put that in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to check them in 20 and see how we're doing. All right, so they've been in the oven for 20 minutes. Let's give it a check. I'm going to try to, like, spear a thicker one. Oh, yeah, like that's fork tender, right? So obviously, yeah, you don't want them to be hard. Yeah, that is fork tender. So we will serve them out in just a second here. Well, we could do it right now. I just need to get something to get them off the pan with, and you can use a serving platter. I'm just using this little tray, or you could just pile them on a plate. So come on, dudes. Okay, they're going to stick a little bit because of that honey. Okay, so let me just do this quickly and I'll come back because it could get a little bit messy. All right, well, let's give these parsnips a try. Okay. It smells really good. Again, I wish I could just smell-o-rama and, include the smell of things in the kitchen on the YouTube videos. But yeah, nice and tender. Mmm. Oh, that's good. Oh my gosh, that's really good. And you could add another, I don't think it needs any more salt, but you could add a bit more salt if you wanted. You could leave off if you, I mean, we put the parsley on to make them look pretty, really, but it doesn't hurt them. I mean, if you had chives, it would give it a little slightly oniony flavor. Nicely caramelized. Yeah, that's really good. Oh my gosh, we have a winner. Absolutely. So, if you're like me and you do not like parsnips or think you don't like parsnips, I dare you to give this recipe a try, because I think you'll get turned around and say, hey, I could cook parsnips and I could really like them. You could do this for people that are coming over, or just for your family, just for yourself. I mean, awesome. So I hope you give them a try, and thanks for stopping by today and joining me here at the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.